Good evening. Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure you heard me. I guess I need to try. Can you turn it down? To talk. Oh. Okay, I'd like to call to order the July 25th meeting of the Plan Commission. It is 6 p.m. The first order of business is the roll call. I will call the roll. Mayor Kim Smith, that is me. I am present. Alderperson Mike Milkey.
Here.
Jared Holter.
Here.
Jan Brock. Present. Tom Smith is excused absence. Eric Archer is excused absent. Bill Lethan.
Here.
Thank you. That is the roll. Item 2, consideration and action on minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Bill Lethan. It's been seconded by Mike Milkey to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is public input. This is a time where members of the public may address the Plan Commission. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes per individual. And I would also like to note at this time that number 5 on our agenda regarding the annexation petition from the town of Madera to the city of Onalaska does not have a public hearing associated with it. So if you would like to speak on that topic, this would also be the time to do so, just for clarity and understanding of everybody here in the audience today. So at this time, I'd like to welcome anyone who would like to address the Plan Commission. Whoever wants to go first, please step forward, or we can bring you a mic as well, no problem. Begin with your name and your address, sir.
Wayne Van Cullenberg, 211 Heritage Lane, Onalaska. I am the board president of the Heritage Estates Homeowners Association. I'm here speaking on my own behalf because we haven't had time to have a special meeting of either the board or of the membership. What you have in front of you is a photograph basically out of my living room window. Because of the peculiar floor plan, what happens in the Heritage Estates is frequently the primary living space has one window space, and that's a double French door that goes out the back. Now, what happened was, I read the very detailed and fine plan presented by Hall. We just got that, I believe, to our membership on Thursday. Now, as things sit, the plan states that these fences would be replaced. These were put up actually not by the community association, but by individual owners. And basically, this here represents what you would see from our back window under the plan as it exists. And that would be basically, from what I can tell, that would be much of the car wreck lot. That is, that behind the current Opera, you've got the cars that have been wrecked and brought in or need repair. Sometimes during the day, it's chaos because they brought in records, et cetera. Now, what we need to do, in my opinion, is to change the plan so that this barrier here would be raised and carried all the way across so that it would end up not presenting a view like this. If I have to sell this house and I have to show a sea of cars to be repaired with lots of wreckage, it's not going to be very good for mine or anybody else's property values. Basically, also, we have possibly another problem with the opacity of existing bushes. We were assured when the Hall Honda dealership was put in that there would be an opaque barrier there. And apparently, to some of our residents, it is not sufficiently opaque. Also, we want to make sure there's coordination to make sure that if there's trees that have to be removed, that they can be removed before they are blocked off from removal. And I don't know what you do in this jurisdiction to go ahead and ensure that kind of coordination, or whether or not you put a condition to Dahl and others before they receive their permits as to whether or not the an appropriate fence will be raised. like I say, all my members have got the right to raise whatever issues they want to in whatever forum they can. Because this is just me speaking on my behalf. But I'd also like to say this, I've had 2 meetings with Jansen Dahl here, and we've been quite amicably discussing what the various solutions are. Your order is your order, but if when he speaks, he'll speak to what they are thinking of in terms of a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Plan Commission this evening?
My name's Andy Towner. Address is 1215 Second Avenue East in Holman. I hope that's okay. So I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Weiser Brothers, and I just wanted to talk a little bit. We've had a long-standing relationship with Dahl and building their facilities. You can't hardly drive through La Crosse or Winona just to get a good understanding of the type of facility, but more importantly, the care and the maintenance that they take after the facility is built. It's actually one of the things that's my favorite part. We can go back 4 or 5 years later and it's actually better. The landscaping's been maintained. The buildings, we use proper building materials. We're not trying to cut any corners. So this is going to be a quality, state-of-the-art maintenance facility. The screenings, we're working through the design and the piece of that as far as through fencing and plantings and different bushes. I'm confident that we can, come to something there. But I guess my comment for everyone to hear on is that Dahl Automotive is unique in their attention to detail, but more important, just the quality of building that they're putting in. Yes, this is a car maintenance shop, but this is going to be very appealing and very aesthetically, pleasing and will be well maintained.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address the Plan Commission this evening?
Oh, you want to go?
Welcome.
Thank you. Don't have too many comments, just regarding the Dahl property. I'm a resident there, 220 Don Pestle, 225 Heritage Lane, Alaska. Don't have a lot of concerns other than the fact that there's been water that's come off that lot on, down into the backyards of the residences there. And sometimes it gets to be a lot of water. So I'm just concerned that we do a good job with storm sewers and whatever it takes to make sure that water doesn't keep coming off now new pavement and whatnot onto the properties. And the other issue that I was a little concerned about was there's a lot of trees along there. And some of them are big, and whether they get taken down, I haven't seen the plan or anything, but whether they get taken down, I don't know if they're on Dahl's property or whose property they're on, but they're between the properties. And maybe some maintenance should be done on those trees, like maybe some of them taken down, some of the big ones that won't have access once the property's been renovated. So those are my only 2 issues.
Thank you, sir.
We didn't get your name, I don't.
Yeah, Tom Pestle, 220 Heritage Lane. Jansen?
Yep, so Jansen Dahl, 208 17th Place South in La Crosse. I wasn't available to be at the last public hearing, but I'm obviously speaking in favor of the annexation. So I just want to touch, I don't think anybody's really touched on the benefits of annexation for the city of Onalaska and the residents. So we are actually going to be relocating a business from the city of La Crosse to the city of Onalaska. So we're going to see, you're going to see an increased tax base. And when you increase the tax base, this funding can be utilized for improving infrastructure, public services, and economic development, which benefits all city residents. It can help streamline governance. So annexation brings our unincorporated area under city jurisdiction, which leads to more uniform regulations, zoning, and land use policies. And this can result in more consistent, coordinated governance, promoting efficient planning and development. And You can also realize and enhance economies of scale, which as a growing business, we can see how that benefits our business, but it can also benefit the city because as you grow, you can now leverage these economies by providing services and infrastructure for all the residents at a lower cost per capita, which is good for everybody. And you can realize some increased political influence as the city grows. So increased political clout of the city by enlarging its boundaries so you can get greater representation and influence at regional, state, and national levels. And it allows the city to advocate for its interests and secure more resources and support. So I wanted to address what Wayne mentioned here in terms of the screening, and we are, we're going to follow all of the Unified Development Code for a buffer to protect the residents from viewing our property. So we're planning on putting in a solid white vinyl fence and a 5-foot buffer along the west property line. So I think there's a 5-foot fence there now, so we can go to it 6 or 8 foot. So we're gonna take care of all that screening, any concerns there. And lighting, we have that covered. There's a photoluminescence plan in here that shows 0.0 foot candle power or foot candle hitting the residents. So there won't be a lot of light hitting the residents. You'll see some glow, but it'll be a very, very limited amount of light. And in terms of noise, this site has been historically used for commercial use, so we don't really anticipate any increase in noise compared to the amount emitted by other commercial operations here. So, met with the residents last night, several of them, and we do have plans to take down some dead trees that the residents own and also do some trimming and make things a little safer for everybody. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
My name's John Von Ruden. I'm speaking on behalf of my mom, Mother Marilyn. She lives at 203 Heritage Lane, which directly abuts behind the Dahl property. There was, we had the concerns of the lighting and the drainage. Dahl's new proposal had addressed that, but it's, so we have two remaining concerns with the development. Number one, it's the property value, of her property. A lot of that is going to depend on the screenings that they talked about. I don't think the typical 8-foot fence is going to be enough in this situation. That's a 22-foot tall building. And I think you'll still be able to see the top 10 feet of that building from Mom's deck and out of her back patio. We'd like to see if there can be a consideration where taller plantings could be put in along that buffer area that would exceed what is required by the code. There's 65 feet between building to building. And that's pretty close. And so as much as we can do to put in some landscaping to, number one, to help the visual, but also the noise. They said, well, this is a commercial area before, and it's going to be commercial area after. It's not, I don't think it's really comparing apples to apples when you had a single resident and a seasonal greenhouse versus a facility that, has projected vehicle per day of 250 vehicles per day. So I think that is an omission in their proposal, is how the effect of noise is going to affect the property owners. I do believe with the landscaping and trying to create that more height in that buffer could help with that. But I think that should be investigated further. Do I have anything else? And they touched on the trees. And I think that's all I had. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, we do have someone online who would like to speak.
Sure.
John, you can go ahead.
Yeah, it's James Makepeace, 2502 7th Street South, La Crosse. So I'm a civil engineer working with the Dolls on this project. Produced the site development plans that are in your packets. I'm also in favor, and I asked for the commission to approve the annexation petition. Jansen touched on some of the benefits to the city: increased vitality, 25 new well-paying jobs, a healthy increase in assessed value and tax revenue. So the site is already surrounded by land that's within the city limits. So it's an island of land within the county right now. This parcel has direct access onto Theater Road through another parcel that they own, which is also already in the city limits. So there's direct access onto Theater Road. There's direct access to sewer and water at Theater Road. So there's been some discussion of stormwater. And yeah, so the existing site does drain some water to the west. And for a development like this, the city ordinance prohibits that. And so the proposed site or the finished site uses concrete curb and gutter on all sides, along with extensive storm sewer to capture and convey all that storm water. The city has been planning for improved drainage on this site for a number of years. There's a 48-inch storm sewer that runs along the east side of this parcel. That storm sewer has a 15-inch pipe stubbed into this parcel, and we'd be connecting to that stub. So we're continuing, I think, to improve the drainage in this area. Again, this parcel, it's in the county, but it's already zoned commercial at this time. And a development like this could occur in the county under the current zoning that they have. It's an approved use. And again, the parcel has a history of commercial use. So I'll hang on and be available to answer any questions. And I ask the commission to approve the annexation petition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else online who would like to provide public input at this time? Is there anyone else in the house that would like to provide public input? Please come up, state your name and your address. Welcome.
My name is Sue Brecky, and I live at 119 Heritage Lane in Onalaska, and I'm part of the condo association that will be facing the Dow Ford auto repair. I want to give a little history about Heritage Lanes. We've been there about 25 years. My husband and I have been there 12 years. When we moved in, which was only 12 years ago, not going back to 25 years, but there were no businesses around there. The Mayo Clinic was not there. AutoZone was not there. We had a lovely Rockwood Gardens there, and none of Dow Ford were there. Now, all of a sudden, we've been bombarded with commercial property, which was not our dream. I don't think my husband and I would have bought there if we'd known that. And then we have beautiful trees there, and I'm afraid they're all going to be taken down because that property is narrow. And I don't see how they're going to build all of that building that they want to build and the parking in that area without removing all the trees. And that's really a shame. We also have drainage problems back there. When AutoZone moved in, they drain into a hole, which is behind our yard. We're kind of between the Dahl property and the AutoZone, and the water collects there, and it's become a mosquito breeding ground there. So I don't know how they got away with that, but I hope nothing like that comes with the Dahl property. And the lighting has become a lot brighter there since all the commercials have moved in. And it's just a shame that, such a nice residential area has turned into businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Ben Fletcher. Address is NA 314 Ducky Drive, Holman, Wisconsin. I'm here representing Holman Lindsay Paints. I'm the new manager there as of December. Obviously, we're up against a lot of competition in the paint world, so we're looking at a vibrant way to beautify our building. Having come from the building world for 22 years, if I would known I was breaking ordinances on what I did, I wouldn't want to end up here talking to you. But unfortunately, it sounds like we did. I would do nothing to jeopardize Onalaska's history, heritage in this area. There's a reason why there's a sunfish on the front of the building. As far as the mural goes, it's going to be maintained. We sell paint. We definitely don't want paint falling off from our building, and people thinking that we sell bad product. And also, I hope to, if you do not okay what we have done on the building already, I hope we can have a dialogue on what we can do to remedy and figure out a nice, vibrant, colorful situation on what we can do. So I am sticking around the entire thing if you'd like to ask me questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address the Plan Commission this evening? Welcome.
Thank you. Carla Stanton, 227 Heritage Lane. I share this property with my mother who wanted to retire here at Heritage Lane. And I just want to speak to reiterate on what everybody else has said, but in particular, that I don't think it's a fair comparison at all that a greenhouse creates the same sound as an auto body repair. So I would like the planning committee to really take the sound into consideration, and whether that is about acoustic walls or whatever. There are things that can be done, but I just don't like that it's an even to even comparison. And then 227 is the end unit. And so just to speak to, we had not purchased that property when Dahl Honda went in, but to hear that it was communicated that there would be a opaque buffer between that and the car dealership, my mother is able to sit at her dining table and watch people buy cars all day long. There's no opaque. And so my question to the planning committee is for your consideration and to follow up, or is what follow-up do we have, or do you have the ability if these proposed solutions don't come to pass? I hear lots of promises, and I'm not saying that they aren't well-intentioned, but to hear that there was a opaque promise between the Honda and our unit, and that we can watch people shopping, it just makes me nervous that those solutions won't come to pass. And what follow-up does the city have if they don't? So,
Ma'am, could you restate your name? I have 227, but I missed your name.
Carla with a C, Stanton.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to address the Plan Commission this evening? Second call. Oh, sorry. No problem. Welcome.
My name is Abby Fletcher. I live at N8314 Ducky Drive, Holman. I'm here on behalf of Holman Lindsay Paint and the mural that they have commissioned to have on the front of their building. And as somebody that grew up in this area, married to the new store manager, we've had lots of discussions about how to bring business to this very bland building, and it has a wonderful product. And if we can just, compete with the local competition that is nationwide known. We've talked a lot about this, but we wanted to have something that was showcasing not only our product, but also local artists. And it just gives vibrancy and just something that will draw people in and appreciate that we are local and not just another box store. It's just been something that's been very hard to hear. People have driven by for years, lived here 10, 20 years, and they've never heard of Holman Lindsay Paint. And it's been in that location for 8 years now, 10 years, 2008. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. 2016. They were over where the old Blockbuster was before that. So just really trying to showcase something that will draw people in and show our appreciation for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the Plan Commission this evening? Second call for anyone wishing to address the Plan Commission. Third and final call for anyone wishing to address the Plan Commission this evening. Not seeing or hearing anyone, public input is now closed, and we'll move on to consideration and possible action on the following items. Item 4 is a public hearing. This is for a general development plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate the proposed 3,100 square foot addition to an existing laboratory facility in addition to other site improvements, and request deviations from the Unified Development Code to waive the 5-foot parking lot setback, maintain a gravel surface parking and storage area instead of surfacing the parking storage area with a dustless all-weather material, waive installation of interior landscaped islands for parking lots, waive the 10% landscaping requirement for the parking storage area only, and waive the 15% open space requirement located on 915 Commercial Court. This is tax parcel ID number 182389-1, and the applicant is Matthew Construction and the Sci Art Studio LLC. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this general development plan, now is the time to do so. Please come forward and begin by stating your name and address. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Mark Schmidt. I'm the architect with Sci Art Studio. And I want to speak in favor of this project. Matthew Construction has been a part of the Onalaska community for many years. They are a pretty nationally well-known paving contractor. They've developed a lot of innovative paving techniques and products. And what we're working on is an addition to their lab. So what's currently there is a storage and warehouse building that's over the years been converted to some offices. And now we're kind of taking that further. So it'll be a lab and offices. It'll be better for the neighborhood in general than its previous use, which was a warehouse. We appreciate the planning staff that's been working with us for the past few months and that they support 4 of our 5 asks. So I would like to address the 5th one, and that is to provide a hard dustless surface for the outdoor storage area. And the way I understand this is that this area, it's about, there's an unpaved section of their outdoor, what I would call an outdoor storage and manufacturing area. It's about half the yard that's unpaved, and the requirement for paving comes out of section 13.03.21, which is specifically addressing parking lots or parking areas. An outdoor storage and manufacturing yard is a separate use. It's actually a separate entity as defined by the ordinances. It's actually a principal use listed in table 13.02.22-1. It's allowed in a heavy industrial district, which is what we have in I-2 heavy industrial. Heavy industrial I-2 is the only district that allows an outdoor storage and manufacturing area. Under principal uses, it actually, there's some special standards for it. It actually has a requirement for its own parking. It's not a parking area. It actually has a requirement for, I believe it's 1.5 spaces per 2 employees. So not being a parking area, not required to have a hard dustless surface. The gravel in the area is allowed by code. I don't know what the conditions were for other outdoor storage and manufacturing yards that they were required to have a hard surface, but, and I'm not a lawyer, but just reading through the ordinances, I don't see any requirement in the ordinance for an outdoor storage and manufacturing area to have a hard surface. We feel the gravel is appropriate. The area is used to bring in trailers that I'll say they reset for the next job. So the trailers themselves are kind of rolling labs where they have equipment and testing facilities inside of them. So they bring them in, they come from all over the country, they reset them and then send them back out to the next job. So it's an activity that's relatively quiet. It goes on all the time. These trailers don't sit there for a long time. They're kind of refurbished and sent back out. So we'd like the council to consider our fifth ask of not having to pave the outdoor storage and manufacturing yard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Welcome.
Thank you. Tony Kirschner, N 1963 Orchard Valley Drive. There's a operational thing to the gravel that is important to the Matthews. The lot is not that large. So when you bring in trucks and they bring in these trailers to refab them, they need to pull the trailers in, they need to spin them around, they need to back them up and pull them back forward. Doing that on a hard surface, whether that's asphalt or concrete, is a lot harder for the truck drivers and harder on the wheels and harder on the trucks because the truck wheels spin easier on the gravel. So I know it's a small thing, but if you're bringing in 100 trailers throughout the year, it's an important thing. You know, that asphalt or that concrete will get beat up over time as you bring in trailers, spin them, back them up, drive forward and pull them back. So they really, it's not like they can't pave the thing. It's really because it's operationally better to have gravel there. I just want to make that clear. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the general development plan? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this plan. Okay, that portion is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the general development plan for this development. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against this general development plan. Not seeing or hearing any, the public hearing is now closed, and I will ask Katie Aspenson to introduce this item to our Plan Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. So as stated, there are 5 deviation requests from the Unified Development Code that have been previously read into the record. Included in your application is a cover letter and a planned unit development plan set provided by the applicant. There are a number of considerations that do not require any deviations from our code, considering permitted uses, density, PUD perimeter, lot area, yard setbacks and building height, environmental design, architecture, streets, utilities, drainage, traffic calming design, circulation and access, and signage. I'm going to go through the reasoning and justification for the 5 asks and how they play into our dimensional and design standards. The first is the common open space. Planned unit developments require a minimum of 15% open space. The applicant is requesting to reduce this requirement to 4%, as the only location for the open space would be the storage yard area that would negate the purpose and functionality of the storage yard itself. City staff are in support of this request due to the industrial use of the site and that the space that is needed to accommodate the storage of machinery and equipment be in that location. The remaining areas on site include parking and building footprints, which are necessary for the development to operate. The next is parking. So parking lots are required to maintain a 5-foot setback from all parcel lines. The existing site does not have the required setback in all but one area of the development, specifically the northwestern parking lot. The applicant is requesting to waive the setback and be allowed to maintain the current site design. Additionally, the applicant requests to waive the requirement that the storage area for machinery and equipment be modified to a dustless all-weather material, as the area is fully screened from the public by a fence, and believe that if paved, the area could be damaged by continuous turn movements of the truck traffic. City staff are in support of the request to not provide a 5-foot parking setback, as this requirement was not enforced at the time of the development. No parking lot improvements are proposed as part of this development. City staff are not in support of allowing the property owner to maintain a gravel area in the equipment and machinery storage area. The city routinely denies requests for use of gravel on all commercial industrial sites and requires that all of those surfaces be paved. Today, half of the storage yard is currently paved, and aerial imagery shows that the paved portion sees often just as much storage as the unpaved area, and the turning movements are visible on the aerial photograph on the paved area just as much as the gravel area, which has not appeared to have been negatively impacted. Moving to landscaping, the applicant requests to not install landscapes every 15 stalls or at the ends of interior drive islands. However, all other landscaping requirements related to tree planting and overall landscaping in the parking lot area are proposed to be satisfied as shown on the submitted landscaping plan included in your packet. Further, the applicant requests to only provide the 10% of landscaping that's required in the publicly accessed area of the property, specifically the laboratory facility and the associated parking lots. The applicant states that the storage area for machinery and equipment is fully fenced. It's inaccessible to the public and would require nearly 18% of the storage yard to be landscaping, which would undermine the purpose of the storage yard itself due to less space available for that need. City staff are in support of the request, as the installation of landscape islands will cause a reduction in parking stalls that would bring the development out of compliance. Additionally, minimum landscaping requirements will be met by the proposed development in the parking lot area, and all new trees will be installed throughout the property and the boulevards, satisfying the city's requirements. City staff are also in support of the request, and as the area in question, the storage manufacturing area, is not accessible or viewable by the public. Additionally, providing the landscaping would reduce the area which has historically been utilized for storage area, which is a permitted use in the I-2 district. As a public hearing has been held, testimony should be considered before deciding on the requested general development plan for the Matthew Construction Planned Unit Development application. City staff have put 12 conditions of approval forward for this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that description, Katie. What is the pleasure of the Plan Commission this evening?
I'll make a motion to approve the planned unit development with the 12 conditions that are in the packet tonight. Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Jared Holter. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the general plan development with the 12 conditions. Is there any discussion? Jan?
According to the stuff we got, says half the current lot is paved, and currently there's a request to not pave that. But the request that came from Matthew said the entire lot was gravel. I'm confused.
So as shown in the packet on what I believe is page 12, it's a little hard to see, but the western half of the property of where the storage yard is existing along 10th Avenue North is gravel. The eastern half of that parking lot leading towards the existing office and lab warehouse and the additional warehouse is paved. So part of it is paved today and the other part is gravel. So the city staff is recommending that they have to pave the portion that is currently gravel.
Just a follow-up, are there any other businesses in that area that do not have paved? I drove around a little bit, but I do not have paved. I mean, this is heavy industrial area.
There are some properties that were developed prior to the code being in its form. So typically anyone that has gravel today is grandfathered in, but I would bring it forward in the same sense that if they wanted to do an addition, do a parking lot improvement, some sort of an exterior use, at that time, the city would require them to pave over the gravel and come into conformance with the code.
Okay, and I just want to ask Katie for clarification. So the motion that's on the floor with the 12 conditions includes the 4 of the 5 asks that have been described, correct?
Correct. It does not include waiving the requirement to pave.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Jared?
So the parking lot there has been like that for many, many years, long time, at least 40, if not 50. it's the back third of the lot, really doesn't see much traffic. One of the reasons that we really for sure want to have a paved surface is because of the traffic coming in and out. You got cars coming in and out. You got, if they're constantly on, it's the dust. I haven't in my years here ever heard of a complaint about dust in that area. I do understand the code, and it does state that it should be done because the site is being redone, but they're not doing anything back in that area, so by the letter of the code, it should be paved, but I don't think it's hurting anything the way it is now. But I guess my motion did not include the parking lot.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Wait, say that again. Your motion does not include the parking lot?
The
Correct.
motion on the floor does not include, so it would have to be paved according to the motion on the floor. Katie?
I would also like to note that while it is not a true parking lot for cars necessarily to come in, based on the description of the applicant, is that they do park vehicles there. There are trailers there. So while it is not your standard parking lot, they are parking items on this area. So we've had a similar request come in where someone wanted to do a storage yard, and our immediate response was, it will need to be paved. We do not allow gravel in the city of Onalaska, in our commercial and industrial districts.
Thank you for that, Katie. Jan?
Do we have a semantics issue here? You're calling it a parking lot, they're calling it a storage area. I don't, I'm interested in what Jared said about he doesn't think it's harming anything. Is this just a requirement because our codes changed? I mean, I understand that with the sign ordinances and stuff.
This is a requirement that we've had for a long time. Any parking area is supposed to be paved. So while it is not your standard customer parking lot, it is still an area that is designed for parking the large utility trailers that they had discussed. So they are parking on this area.
I guess my question is still, is this a parking lot for parking cars and vehicles or a storage area?
It is a storage area where they are parking vehicles. I know I'm not completely answering your question, but that is the interpretation of the city, is that is what is occurring on the property, that they are parking vehicles on a lot. Therefore, it needs to be paved.
Is the logic for not gravel because of dust or noise or?
Yes,
Okay, and there's residences that are.
and there are residents that are directly adjacent to this property.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the Plan Commission? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve with the 12 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No?
Okay, that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3 to 1, the motion passes.
4-1.
4 to 1, if I'll vote in favor. Okay, got that. Item 5 is the annexation petition to annex 2.18 acres from the town of Madera to the city of Onalaska. This is located at N4381 Theater Road. This is tax parcel ID number 9-107-00. The applicant is Automotive Enterprises LLC. Katie, can you introduce this item to our Plan Commission this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. The area for annexation is approximately 2.1 acres from the town of Madera to the city of Onalaska. The area in our comprehensive plan for a future land use plan shows that it is meant for commercial, which is intended to accommodate large and small scale commercial and office development, including a wide range of retail, service, lodging, and office uses. The applicant intends to annex this one parcel with the intention to construct a new Abra Auto Body facility. The city of Onalaska is directly adjacent to the north, west, east, and south of the subject parcel. And it is currently a town island. Access would be obtained from Theater Road with the additional utilities that are available. The applicant has requested the regional business B3 district as the incoming zoning district, and the 3 surrounding parcels on the north, south, and east side are zoned the same. Included in the packet is a cover letter from the applicant as well as plans describing the proposed development. City staff have put together 8 conditions of approval for this development.
Thank you for that, Katie. I think our city attorney Amanda Jackson had a comment regarding this item tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to apologize. I was not at last month's meeting. I was out of state. But I just wanted to touch on this particular agenda item briefly. So what is before the Plan Commission tonight is 2 questions. The first question is the annexation of this commercial parcel that's 2.1 acres from the town of Madera into the city of Onalaska. So that is question 1. Question 2 is the proposed zoning that Katie has in her staff report, B3 Regional Business District, appropriate? What is not on the agenda tonight is Dahl's site plan for the Abra Auto Body Shop. And so questions, comments related to that would not be an appropriate topic for tonight's discussion. So we should limit our focus to those 2 questions. Should this property annex into the city of Onalaska, yes or no? And if the answer to that question is yes, then what is the appropriate zoning?
Thank you for that, Amanda. With that said, I'll turn this item over to the Plan Commission this evening.
I'll move to approve the annexation petition to annex 2.18 acres from the town of Madera to the city of Onalaska located at N4381 Theta Road. That's tax parcel number 9-107-0. And this will be with the 8 conditions of approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that motion.
So the motion on the floor was by Mike Milkey. It's been seconded by Jan Brock to approve this annexation partition with 8 conditions. Is there any discussion? Katie?
I would like to note that the Department of Administration reviewed the proposed annexation and they found it to be in the public interest.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Jan?
I would just like to thank Mr. Dahl. I've been in contact with a couple of the residents on Heritage Lane, and the other day he was kind enough to come over and go door to door, speaking to some of those that were backing up to the proposed annexation and whatever. He also, I will compliment your staff at your La Crosse office. One of the residents, I suggested that maybe she go down and see the facility y'all had in La Crosse. She did. And your staff was kind enough to take her through the whole facility and show her what was happening. And she called me last night and was very pleased. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the commission this evening? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve the annexation with the 8 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 6 is the final implementation plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate a proposed 3,100 square foot addition to an existing laboratory facility in addition to other site improvements, and request deviations from the Unified Development Code to waive the 5-foot parking lot setback, maintain a gravel surface parking storage area instead of surfacing the parking storage area with a dustless all-weather material, waive installation of interior landscaped islands for the parking lots, waive the 10% landscaping requirement for the parking storage area only, and waive the 15% open space requirement located at 915 Commercial Court. This is tax parcel ID number 18-2389-0, and the applicant is Mathy Construction and Sci Art Studios LLC. Katie, would you like to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, there are 5 deviations from the Unified Development Code that are being proposed. City staff are in support of 4 of them as previously described in agenda item number 4. There are 11 conditions of approval tied to this development. Thank you.
Thank you. With that said, I'll turn this matter over to the Plan Commission this evening for action on the final implementation plan.
I'll move to approve the final implementation plan with the 11 conditions set forth for this Mathy Construction project and Sci Art Studios LLC.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mike Milky. It's been seconded by Bill Lethan to approve this final implementation plan with the 11 conditions. Is there discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passes 4-1. Thank you for that. Item 7 is review and consideration of a certified survey map application to subdivide one parcel into a total of 2 parcels. This is located at 2614 Midwest Drive. It is tax parcel ID number 18-4769-1. The applicants are Coldwell Banker Real Estate LLC and the Rivers Hotel Company Incorporated. Katie Aspenson, could you introduce this item to the commission this evening, please?
Yes, Mayor. The property owner intends to subdivide one commercial property into 2 commercial properties to allow for new development. The proposed parcels meet all dimensional requirements of those in the Regional Business B3 zoning district. Included in your packet is a copy of the certified survey map, which has been updated. Currently, there are 14 conditions of approval tied to this development.
Thank you. Jared Holter?
I'm gonna make a motion with just that the developer came in today with a new CSM and they are not going to dedicate the public street. So it will remain a private drive, and due to that, I will make a motion to approve this CSM that was submitted today without the dedication of the public right of way, with conditions 1 through 5 and 10 through 14 for a total of 10 conditions in your packet tonight.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Jared Holter. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the certified survey map with conditions 1 through 5 and 10 through 14. Is there any further discussion? Jared?
I'll just offer that those items 6, 7, 8, and 9 were pertaining to the dedication of the public right of way, and they're no longer needed if the right of way is not getting dedicated.
Thank you. I'd ask if staff still supports this with that conditional change as described.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion from the committee? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. That brings us to number 8, special exception application to deviate from section 7.07.13 B2 of the Code of Ordinances to allow murals on a primary facade of the structure located at 820 Second Avenue South. This is tax parcel ID number 18-951-5. The applicant is Hallman Lindsay Paints, and we'll ask our planning manager, Katie Aspenson, to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant in question is requesting a special exception to the mural ordinance to allow multiple murals on the primary facade of the building located at 820 Second Avenue South. According to section 7.07.13.B.2, murals are not permitted on the primary facade of a building. The primary facade is defined for purposes of this chapter as the building elevation which directly faces an adjacent street right-of-way and is the primary customer entrance. However, the ordinance does allow for the use of special exceptions to provide for deviations on a case-by-case basis. The applicant commissioned murals to be installed on the southern side of the facility as well as the primary facade of the structure. Due to the commercial nature of 4 of the installations, the artwork is considered signage, and one of those 4 may be permitted as a facade sign outside of this application. Attached in your packet is a compilation of recent art completed at the facility with the associated square footages of each mural and commentary from the Mural Review Committee, the MRC. The MRC approves the request for murals number 1 and 6, provided that modifications are made to mural 1 as they are commercial in nature and reference different aspects of the Hallman Lindsay business via the mural. Specifically, the removal of references to Hallman Lindsay on the painter's shirts, removal of reference to Sun Prairie and the associated road, as well as the removal of the statement made in Wisconsin on the mural that is the state of Wisconsin. The MRC denied the request for murals number 2, 3, 4, and 5 due to the commercial nature of the murals and is requiring the removal of 3 of the 4 denied murals. Based on the information included in the packet, there is a copy of the applicant's letter and circumstances of the property and the standards. City staff are recommending approval of the special exception request for murals number 1 and 6 with the noted changes to mural number 1 and require removal of 3 of the 4 remaining artwork, murals 2 through 5. Included in your packet are the standards that the MRC reviews all mural special exceptions by. 4 of those standards have been met. The issue where the standard was not met was that the request does not allow prohibited mural content. In this case, the mural content is containing commercial messaging. Before you tonight is consideration of the special exception application. City staff have put together a total of 7 conditions of approval for this development. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Katie. With that said, I'll turn this matter over to the Plan Commission. What is your desire this evening?
For purposes of discussion, I'll move to approve the planning commission's agenda with the 7 conditions.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with a second, motion by Bill Lethan, second by Mike Milky to approve with the 7 conditions. Okay, under discussion.
Voted for.
Can you put them, they said they can't hear you.
My basic question is there a precedence? Are we setting or breaking any precedences by adhering to the removal of some of these murals? I mean, is there any, are we breaking any rules if we deny this and let them just put the murals up the way they want them? Or is there a precedence that says we have to do it a certain way?
So the typical process for a mural permit is that the property owner would propose a mural to the city. The mural review committee would review that mural against the content that is included in the ordinance. As long as it doesn't have any prohibited content and it meets the necessary requirements, a mural permit would be approved, and then the applicant would move forward with constructing a mural. In this instance, the murals were installed prior to having those permits on file. And our code specifically calls out that they're not to contain commercial messaging. So what is included in the staff report is there are 4 artwork installations that were considered murals by the applicant. City staff consider them signs because they have commercial messaging. Signs are regulated by a completely different ordinance of the city. There are allowed to be 2 wall facade signs at this property based on the frontage that this business owns. So there is currently a Hallman Lindsay sign on the front of the building. So they have 1 sign and they may have a second sign. So city staff are saying of the 4 that have commercial messaging, the business owner can choose which of the 4 they would like to keep, one of them. So then there would be 2 wall facade signs and the others would need to be removed because they're not considered murals. They are considered signs and they're not allowed to have any more than 2 signs on this property.
But they could be adapted to be murals.
Potentially.
So I think it would be helpful to go through the murals, Katie, and describe what is outside of, besides the fact of only being able to have 1 additional sign with the mural, what is the commercial content? Because I think when you explained that to me, that was helpful.
Sure.
And maybe the rest of the people would benefit from that as well.
So the first mural oh, thank you, Stacy. Are people painting with a dog? And it further goes down on the next page to a wraparound with the state of Wisconsin. It's approximately 216 square feet. The mural review committee believes that the mural complies with mural regulations, provided 3 modifications are discussed. That particularly being on the, if you go back, on the back of the shirts of the painters, they are noting it's Hallman Lindsay. So they are advertising the name of their business, which is commercial speech, commercial signage on that particular piece. On the bottom one, the Made in Wisconsin is advertising that their paint is being made in Wisconsin. So they are advertising aspects of their business via the mural. Also, Sun Prairie, I believe, is the headquarters for this business. So by showing the road to Sun Prairie and having it there, they're advertising additional information related to their business, which is the commercial speech. For mural number 2 on the next page, Great Paint, which is 20 square feet. We are stating that this mural has commercial advertising content, is considered a sign. It is advertising the product for sale is Great Paint, and they are a paint business. Mural number 3, Brighten Your Day with Hallman Lindsay Paint. The mural again has commercial advertising content, is considered a sign. It could be the slogan, the business name, again, considered to be a sign. Mural number 4, Great People, that the mural again has commercial advertising content, is considered a sign. It's advertising the customer service of their business. Therefore, the MRC had declared this to be a sign. Mural number 5, We Deliver, approximately 26 square feet. It has commercial advertising content, is considered a sign, as is advertising a business service that they will deliver the paint to the customer. Mural number 6, The Man Catching a Sunfish, approximately 108 square feet divided. This mural complies with the mural regulation requirements, and city staff fully support this mural without any change.
Thank you for that. I think that's helpful.
I have a question, for, the signs 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the murals. If this were to be overturned, is the mural on 6 allowed to continue over to the state of Wisconsin? Is there a size requirement that would be breaking as far as square footage?
The city does not regulate size of murals, so they are fully compliant with the size.
So that technically this were the man fishing and the sunfish, if that were to extend further, it wouldn't be an issue.
That is correct.
Okay.
Amanda?
So Katie, just for the record, to clarify, if they wanted to paint over the commercial signage with a mural, that would be allowed?
Yes. So if they did not wish to remove the murals, but rather paint over them and extend it beyond, then it would again be considered a standard mural without commercial speech. And it is based on if the Plan Commission approves this request, it would be allowed to be on the front of the building. The city does not have a specified square footage maximum for murals, so they could continue if they did so desire.
And so technically, if they were to complete that and go over it, mural 1 could be applied for a sign then, and that could stay with the Hallman Lindsay with the painters on the back is that correct? If that was a sign permit for mural 1 instead of a mural, would that be allowed?
If they kept the Hallman Lindsay, then the other ones would have to be modified in some way. Essentially, if they keep the Hallman Lindsay and the information related to Wisconsin and that reference, they could permit that as a sign, but then the other ones would have to either be removed or modified in some way where there was no commercial speech.
Right, but if they were taking out 2, 3, 4, and 5, technically that would all be a mural, so there would really only be one other mural outstanding, which could be a sign.
Yes. My only concern is that that particular mural extends onto two facades. And one of them would have to be modified accordingly because we don't have a single sign that reaches beyond a single facade.
Okay.
So for clarification, Katie, with the motion that's on the floor, they would still be able to have their one sign, and they would still be able to have the mural? Or would they have to take additional action to do that?
What is on the floor for you this evening is that to go through so I'll just go through the conditions of approval.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
we're all on the
Yeah,
same
let's
page.
make sure we got that.
So the first condition is that they have to pay the fee, which has been accomplished. So everyone's good with number one. Number two is that they have to obtain a mural permit for each individual mural. So once the plan commission decides what it is that the decision is being made, how many murals there are, they'll have to get a mural permit for each one. Number three is if they would have to, within 30 days of the plan commission decision, they would need to remove those three references as stated to mural number one in order to retain that as a mural and no longer a sign. By removing those references, it becomes a mural and is compliant with our code. So they would get a mural permit for number one. Condition number four is that applicant is to obtain a sign permit for one of the murals that is listed in your packet as numbers 2 through 5. Within 30 days of the plan commission decision. So that gives the applicant 30 days to choose, if they make no modification beyond what it is today, that they can pick which sign they want to permit. Condition number 5 is the balance. The remaining 3, if they stay as they are today, would have to be removed because they are considered signs, not murals. And then conditions 6 and 7 are standard conditions.
Is there a limit to the amount of signs?
Yes,
Okay. And is it, it's in the Unified Development Code?
it's in our sign code.
Okay.
Every business that has a frontage is allowed 2 signs per frontage. So if you're on a corner and you have 2 frontages or 2 streets, you're allowed double the amount of signs. So in this instance, because there's 1 frontage serving this property, they're allowed 2 wall signs.
Thank you.
I've been around for a long time also, or that precedents, I mean, are there businesses out there that have been not doing that because the ordinance is so new or anything like that?
This ordinance has been on the books for a long time. It is safe to say that not every person contacts the city when they install a new sign. So sometimes we find them after the fact. And then we move forward with regulations to bring people into conformance.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve this special exception application to deviate from the code with the 7 conditions as described. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please reply by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 9 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor by Jared Holter, second by Mike Milky to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. The time is 7:07. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming in.